Welcome to Menopause Moguls podcast, the Elevation Talk series, with yours truly, Dr. Joyelle. I am Dr. Joyelle, the Menopause Mogul, board certified OBGYN and business coach for Black women 40 and over. And my mission is to educate, embolden, and empower Black women and other women of color in their journey through health and careers. This is a space for Black women and other women of color to share their compelling trials and tribulations in their health and or in their careers and businesses. This is where we recognize the humanity of Black women and show how Black women continue to elevate despite midlife challenges and changes. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Menopause Moguls with yours truly, Dr. Joyelle. How are y'all doing today? I wanted to first thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for those who are subscribing. Thank you for those who are sharing this podcast, these episodes. I truly appreciate it. And I want to encourage you to keep on sharing, keep on subscribing, so more people can see this content and it have a greater impact. Today, I wanted to talk about attitude. I've been talking about attitude a lot in my family, with my children. In the last episode, I talked about the mental load of mothering. And part of that load is helping them, navigate through their feelings and their emotions and their thoughts about themselves, about certain things that they're doing in their lives, about school and all the things. And we talk about attitude a lot. As I've shared before, I have now a 13-year-old, so I have a teenager, a tween who's 11, and my son is about to turn 9. And they all have their all different personalities. They're all different attitudes about different things. And they're all involved in sports. My girls are competitively cheer. My son is in travel baseball. And, particularly my son, we've been having lots of conversations when it comes to attitudes. And, he initially had some issues, had an attitude about playing baseball. And because his first love is basketball, right? But we want him to, can't play basketball like the whole year. So we wanted him to play different sports, to expose him and to also keep him busy, right? Keep him involved in moving his body, exercise, and just doing different things. And when, this is now his second year. His first year, was last year, and he did so well. Like, that was his first year, and he was, knocking the ball out the park. He was catching outs, like doing all these wonderful things. I'm like, boy, you can play baseball. But at first, his attitude was like negative. Like, I don't want to play baseball, mommy. Like, why are you making me go? But now he now loves it. So don't think I'm out here forcing him to do it, y'all. But he had to warm up to it. But we talked about his attitude and how that affects him playing and affects his success in playing the sport, right? And he's noticed that, when he went out there with a negative attitude and just, I'm just here and I gotta do this and I don't want to be here and I don't like it, all the things and all the excuses that he wanted to come up with to not go to practice and all these things. But now, and he noticed when he, came out with that type of attitude, he didn't do as well. And now he looks forward to going to practice, and now he loves it, and he is still playing well. And even better, he noticed that his level of success when he's hitting the ball and catching the ball and all the things on the baseball field, it's better because his attitude is better. His level of abilities and capabilities on the field has elevated as he continues to practice and participate in games and things like that. But he noticed that his attitude definitely affect his level of abilities out on the baseball field. So I wanted to talk about, our attitude and how our menopause attitude can affect our midlife altitude. And I also thought about, talking about this because I see one of my clients out there just shining brightly, and I'm so proud of her. And this just watching her grow from where she started and what she's doing now, it's just been, a proud, coach mama bear moment. And I thought about, talking about with this episode about how our attitude affects our altitude when we are living out in these midlife streets. And when we think about our attitude, our attitude is how we, view different things and even view ourselves, and also noticing how we view things. It changes how we respond to different things. It changes how we respond to certain ideas, certain situations, certain people. Our attitude, it affects how we respond to different things. And when we look at that and how that actually affects how we can elevate our level of thinking, elevate our level of success, getting to our higher selves as we are evolving in these midlife streets, is so important to, notice that connection. So when I'm thinking about, my client, she, in the beginning, when I started working with her, she was very annoyed and frustrated when it came to her menopausal symptoms. She had brain fog, she had hot flashes, mood swings, and it was really frustrating. And she also felt like she wanted more in her career, but she didn't really know what that looked like. She had an inkling of building her own practice, building her own business, but she was like, no, not really. I don't think I really see myself doing that. She didn't really have the confidence in herself to think that she would be able to build a business, build her own practice outside of, she was already practicing in someone else's practice. So she just didn't really think that she can do it. And didn't really have any, confidence in doing that. So she was like, okay, maybe I'll just apply for this position as a professor and do that, in addition to practicing in this therapy practice. And she realized as we worked together in my Menopause Moguls program, and how she learned how she was responding to her menopausal symptoms, how her attitude actually towards them affected how she responded to them, right? And once she started to shift that attitude, once she learned physiologically what her symptoms, where they were coming from, why they were showing up the way they were, and then develop a sense of gratitude for being able to even go through the stage of perimenopause, right? Like, obviously she's, y'all know I work with women 40 and over, right? So she's perimenopausal, and she had a sense of gratitude of first getting to this point, right? There's some women who don't even get to the age of perimenopause and menopause. And a sense of gratitude and being grateful of how far she's come so far in regards to her personally and as well as professionally. Because when we get caught up in life, right? She's also a mom. She has 2 kids, married, taking care of her mom. She's a caregiver. So we can get so caught up in so many things, and we don't take the time to just take a step back or just take a pause and just look at what you have, how far you've come from, wherever that starting point was, and have a sense of gratitude for that. That shifts your attitude when it comes to you dealing and navigating through these midlife changes. And when she was able to do that, and then at the same time, show herself compassion, right? Show her, be kind to her body, be kind to her mind as she is going through these changes. That brain fog, that cloudy, that foggy feeling, and um, you know, um, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? She felt like she was just kind of in this haze where she didn't know. Again, she felt like she wanted more in her career, but didn't really know what that looked like because it was just this haze. And again, at the same time, no confidence because of the way she was feeling, because of her attitude towards what her body was doing, where she felt like, it was betraying her. Like a lot of us think about, where our body's going through these changes, we feel like we're being portrayed. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? Right. So once she started to shift that attitude about the changes that her body and her mind was making, was doing, and how it was changing, there was a lift of these clouds. Like she felt like this haze, this haze that she felt like she was in. She was being lifted out of it, and her symptoms started to resolve. And part of the cloud, working with her, um, I helped her realize that part of the cloud was also a cloud of self-doubt, right? A cloud of frustration. And when I helped her realize that and helped her shift how she thought, how her attitude was about the body changes that she was making, about the mental changes that she was experiencing, or body changes she was experiencing, and how that was also rooted in things that happened even prior to perimenopause, things that happened when she was younger. So that also affected her attitude about herself, and how she thought she should be experiencing this whole midlife um, shift and journey, right? So once she felt like, again, the sense of gratitude, this major attitude shift of what her perimenopause, menopause experience should look like, and how she should now respond differently to it. That is when her confidence grew in herself, and the thought of building her own practice became very clear to her. It was still scary. It was very scary, but it became very clear to her. And she went um, full force on that vision of her building her own practice. And she felt so strongly about it that she put it in her letter of resignation. And I ain't tell her to do that, y'all. When she told me, she got back on a coaching call with me, and she told me she put her letter of resignation. I was like, "You did what? Are you serious?" Like I didn't tell her to do that, but I was so proud of her because again, she felt so strongly in her ability, in her capability of now building her own practice. She was able to elevate herself, right, to her higher self, that she can totally do this. And that only happened when she changed her attitude about her perimenopause and journey through these mental, physical, emotional changes that she was experiencing. Once she changed her attitude about that, and once she changed her attitude about herself, that is when she was able to elevate and, feel very strongly about her ability to build this practice and get clients and, do the things that she wanted to do and create this life that she truly wanted. And she's built a six-figure business, and now has created a new business and platform where she is helping Black women. She's developed this whole kind of sisterhood. It's called the Sisters Legacy Collective, where she is building this space, this very curated, safe space for Black women to, um, address mental health, emotional health, and being able to elevate themselves into the life that they actually want and truly deserve. So I am just super proud of just watching her continue to evolve and grow and again elevate her level of success over and over again. And just again thinking about where she started and to where she is today solidifies the idea that when you change your attitude or when you have a certain attitude about menopause, about perimenopause, that can elevate you into your next best self, into the greater part of your higher self, right? So that attitude affects your midlife altitude. And, you know, I see time and time again, whether it's on social media, whether I'm talking to someone, there's a lot of menopause haters. And I get it, right? I get it because it's not easy. It's hard. It makes you feel crazy. Your body and your mind is going through so many changes, so many things, and you can feel stuck. You can feel overwhelmed. And I get that. And that is all true. But two things can be true at the same time, right? Like at the same time, you can also look at this journey as a gift to you to have more self-awareness, have more self-compassion, have more self-love, do more, act out more self-care so that you can now elevate into your next best self as you are aging, as you are changing, with this attitude that this, I am grateful that I'm actually able to do this. I am grateful that I got to this point in my life where I'm able to take the time to figure out what do I want, what do I need, and how can I, what do I need to do to create the life that I want, create the life that I deserve. Because we can get to this point in our lives, these midlife years where we want more, but we feel like we can't get more because we're just so overwhelmed with all the things, with our menopause symptoms, with life, mothering, caregiving, all the things. But we can have both. It can be a both and situation. And when we lock into the fact that the energy that we have towards our midlife journey, it affects how we show up, right? It affects how we show up in our families, it affects how we show up in our businesses, affects how we show up in our careers. All of that energy, it goes back and forth, right? So what we put out comes back to us. So if we have this, an attitude where yes, this is not easy for me. These brain fog, hot flashes, whatever the thing is, it's not easy. But at the same time, this is my opportunity to figure out, what do I need in order to feel better, in order to feel well. And then also evaluate how am I looking at myself? What are the thoughts that I have about myself? Why do I have those thoughts, right? Allow those thoughts to be becoming and stemming from, what we were told when we were little girls, what we were told last week, what we were told last year. So we have to take that time to figure out what's the attitude that I'm having towards perimenopause, menopause, and is that, especially when I'm having a hard time, is that why I'm having a hard time with this change of life? Because of my attitude towards it, because of my attitude about aging, right? I remember seeing patients in the office and they were tell me when I was in the beginning stages of my career, just getting out of residency. And there were women who are in their 50s and 60s, and like, you just wait till you get to 55 because it is not fun. I'm this and I'm that and this is and it was like, I'm like, damn. Is there anything that's good about, getting to 55 or 60, right? So, and obviously over the years I've been able to uh learn that yes, there is, there are better things when we get to those ages, but we have to evaluate our attitudes and our viewpoints of how we are looking at these golden years, as they call it, and looking at our attitudes and how we are responding to it. And if it's in a negative way, and if it's a negative attitude, we have to take the time to figure out why that is and then shift it. Because when we make that shift, when we make that um, attitude shift, we are able to rise to the level of our higher selves and walk in our purpose, right? Walk um, in a way that aligns with our divine assignments. So your menopause attitude affects your midlife altitude. So I want to ask you, I would love if you could share with me what your perimenopause, menopause attitude is. And with that, what it is, and if it's a negative attitude, tell me why that is. And even if it's a positive attitude, right? Because I know there's some women who they look forward to aging and doing all the things as we are getting up into these golden years, and they can have positive. I know there's those are out there who have more positive attitudes about menopause and the years beyond that. So I would love for you to share with me what your attitude is about menopause, perimenopause, or just even your midlife journey thus far. So you can put that in the comments if you are watching on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast app, you can put it just as a review. Give a 5-star review while you're there, and then put it in the review and let me know what you think about this episode, and if it resonates with you, I would love to hear from you. All right. So that's what I have for you all today. Just giving you the invitation to just take a step back or take a pause to ask yourself what your attitude is about perimenopause and menopause, aging in general, and think about how that's affecting you when it comes to you elevating to your next best self in your career, in your business, or even in your personal life. We want to do things personally, whether it's joining a different class, or, managing our weight, or whatever that thing is personally that you want to do, spending more time with our family, and you feel like you're having a problem doing that. So I'm curious to know, what your attitude is when it comes to your midlife journey, aging, menopause, all the things, and how that can potentially affect how you can, get to the level of where you want to be in order to create the life that you want. So please share. I really appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. Please like And please share this episode with your friends, your mamas, your aunties, your girls, everybody. Because again, the more people who see this podcast, the less of those of us who will be out here feeling like we're all alone and struggling by ourselves, because none of us, we are all here. We are all in this together. And I am here to, definitely support and empower you to be able to elevate to your next best self. And that by, again, changing your attitude about perimenopause and menopause, changing how you respond based on your attitude. And in the midst of all that, in order to do all that, actually knowing yourself, liking yourself, and trusting yourself all at the same time. All right. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, sending love and light to you all. All right, y'all. Take care.